Lois Lane sat at her desk at the Daily Planet, staring at a blank screen. The cursor blinked, waiting for words that wouldn't come. She had tackled some of the biggest stories in the world, exposed corruption, and challenged the most dangerous figures in power, but now, when it came to writing about herself, she found herself utterly blocked. The story of how she gained superpowers should have been easy to tell, but every time she tried to put it into words, something held her back. Her frustration was interrupted when Supergirl and Lana Lang walked into her office. They had come to invite her out for a break, sensing she needed a distraction. Lois initially declined, citing her work, but when they suggested something a little more exciting, fighting crime, she found herself agreeing without hesitation. Together, the three women took to the skies, soaring over Metropolis and beyond, responding to distress calls, stopping criminals and saving lives. The rush of flight, the thrill of using her powers, and the camaraderie of working alongside two experienced heroes gave Lois a sense of freedom she hadn't felt in years. After a particularly eventful few hours, they found themselves in Paris, sipping coffee at the top of the Eiffel Tower, enjoying a rare moment of peace. As they gazed over the city, Lois finally voiced her frustration. She told them how, in the past, whenever she struggled with a story, she would talk to Perry White, her mentor, her sounding board. But since his departure from the planet, she had felt lost. Supergirl and Lana encouraged her to talk to them instead, to start from the beginning and say it out loud. Taking a deep breath, Lois began recounting the events that changed her life. It had happened during the battle between the superheroes and Amanda Waller's forces. Lois had taken the advanced armor she had acquired from Supercorp and flown toward Gamora, determined to help. What she hadn't known was that the armor was still connected to Waller's network. When Task Force 7 was destroyed, a surge of energy pulsed through the system, electrocuting her and rendering her unconscious. The last thing she remembered was plummeting toward the ocean. Then, inexplicably, she woke up on the rooftop of the Daily Planet, unharmed and back in civilian clothes. Waller had been defeated and the battle was over. Initially, she assumed Clark had saved her, but he denied it. His only theory was that the armor might have had a failsafe that returned her to Metropolis. Before they could investigate further, he was called away to the Phantom Zone. Life at the planet resumed as normal until one day during a routine staff meeting, Lois lost her favorite pen. It had rolled under the couch and without thinking, she lifted the entire piece of furniture over her head with ease. The realization hit her like a freight train: she had super strength. Shocked and exhilarated, she went to Supercorp to consult with Lena Luthor and Mercy Graves. Tests confirmed that she had somehow absorbed the abilities of a Kryptonian. The armor, in its final act, had transferred the power released from Task Force 7 into her. But there was a catch. Unlike Clark, her powers might not be renewable. Without the ability to absorb solar energy like a true Kryptonian, she could potentially burn out if she overused them. Mercy warned her against using them recklessly, but Lois had never been one to sit on the sidelines. That very night she proved it. A high-speed police chase caught her attention, and despite the warnings, she intervened. Moving at super speed, she disarmed the criminals and neutralized the situation before the police could react. It was a moment of clarity. She couldn't ignore the responsibility that came with these powers. When Clark returned from the Phantom Zone, she told him everything. He took her to the Watchtower, where Mr. Terrific and the Atoms examined her, confirming what Lena had already said. The powers were real but finite. Despite the risks, Lois insisted on using them while she still could. Clark, though reluctant, agreed to train her. Under his guidance, she learned to control her strength, her flight, and her heat vision. And when a new Brimstone emerged to threaten Metropolis, she stood alongside her family, introducing the world to its new Superwoman. Back at the Daily Planet, as they flew home from their Paris outing, Supergirl and Lana finally confronted Lois about her writer's block. They pointed out what she had been avoiding: she loved having powers but felt guilty about it. Lois admitted they were right. Having these abilities felt like a privilege, one she hadn't earned, and the joy she felt using them made her uneasy. Supergirl and Lana reassured her, sharing that even they sometimes struggled with the weight of their gifts, but it was okay to find happiness in being a hero. With a newfound sense of clarity, Lois returned to her desk and began typing at super speed. The story poured out of her, every detail finally making its way onto the page. But as she neared the end, she hesitated. Her fingers hovered over the delete key, uncertainty creeping in again. Before she could decide, her enhanced hearing picked up a cry for help. Without a second thought, she abandoned the article, soaring out of the window as Superwoman, her story left open on the screen. Meanwhile, at Supercorp, secrets lurked in the shadows. The armor had not been destroyed. Mercy and Lena had retrieved it, carefully concealing its existence from Superman and Lois. As Lena studied its design, she questioned why they had to keep it a secret. Mercy's response was cryptic but firm. Lois could never know what Lex Luthor had truly built the armor for. Elsewhere, on the Watchtower, Ryan Choi and Ray Palmer analyzed the anomaly of Lois' powers. Every Kryptonian on Earth still retained their abilities, which raised a troubling question. Where had Lois' powers actually come from? And what would happen when the original owner realized what had been taken? Far beyond Earth, aboard the UPCC dereliction, General Zod stood in silence, staring out into the void. His expression darkened as he considered the disturbance in the universe. Something was missing, something that had once belonged to him. His fists clenched, his gaze unyielding. Soon he would reclaim what was his. This was the story, folks. Please leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to receive more videos like this one. See you next time.